though he respected no one else, not even his own friends. With her he had some softness, but with everyone else, well, my brother, who had begun his life soft and only later hardened into someone who would torture his own sister, had learned to cut out a person's eye from Lazmet, and how to store it, too, in a preservative, so it wouldn't rot. Before I truly understood what the jars in the weapons hall contained, I had gone there to look at them, on shelves high above my head, glinting in the low light. Green and brown and gray irises, afloat, like fish bobbing to the surface of a tank for food. My father had never carved a piece of someone with his own hands, nor had he ordered someone else to do it. He had used his current gift to control their bodies, to force them to do it to themselves. Death is not the only punishment you can give a person. You can also give them nightmares. When Akos Kereseth came to find me, later, it was on the nav deck of the small transport ship that carried us away from my home planet, where my people, the Shotet, now stood on the verge of war with Akos's home nation of Thuva. I sat in the captain's chair, swiveling back and forth to soothe myself. I meant to tell him what Rizek had told me, that my father, if he was my father, if Rizek was even my brother, was alive. Rizek seemed certain that he and I didn't actually share blood, that I was not truly a Noavek. That was why, he had said, I hadn't been able to open the gene lock that kept his rooms secure, why I hadn't been able to assassinate him the first time I tried. But I didn't know how to begin. With the death of my father? With the body we had never found? With the niggling feeling that Rizek and I were too dissimilar in features to have ever been related? Akos didn't seem to want to talk either. He spread a blanket he had found somewhere in the ship on the ground between the captain's chair and the wall, and we lay on top of it, side by side, staring out at nothingness. Current shadows, my lively, painful ability, wrapped around my arms like black string, sending a deep ache all the way down to my fingertips. I was not afraid of emptiness. It made me feel small, barely worth a first glance, let alone a second. And there was comfort in that, because so often I worried that I was capable of causing too much damage. At least, if I was small and kept to myself, I wouldn't do any more harm. I wanted only what was within arm's reach. Akos's index finger hooked around my pinky. The shadows disappeared as his current gift countered mine. Yes, what was within arm's reach was definitely enough for me. Would you say something in Thuvazit? He asked. I turned my head toward him. He was still looking up at the window, a faint smile curling his lips. Freckles dotted his nose and one of his eyelids, right near the lash line. I hesitated with my hand just lifted off the blanket, wanting to touch him, but also wanting to stay in the wanting for a moment. Then I followed the line of his eyebrow across his face with a fingertip. I'm not a pet bird, I said. I don't chirp on command. This is a request, not a command. A humble one, he said. Just say my full name, maybe? I laughed. Most of your name is Shotet, remember? Right. He lunged at my hand with his mouth, snapping his teeth together. It startled a laugh from me. What was hardest for you to say when you were first...